Welcome in, everybody. We weren't supposed to beat New York Red Bulls. We weren't supposed to beat Orlando. We weren't supposed to beat Montreal. Hell, we're not supposed to beat Messi in Miami. But you know what? I think we're about to start doing the impossible a habit. Man, I am hyped. I am ready. I can't believe we were able to pull another one of these rabbits out of the hat. I don't know how many more of those motherfuckers we got hiding up there. It's unbelievable. I feel like every game is just butt clenched the whole time. You never know what's gonna happen. Every single minute, it's like back and forth, roller coaster of emotions. I feel sorry for people who have like heart conditions watching this thing. It's unbelievable the amount of, first of all, entertainment. So I'm happy that that's a thing. And we're feeling entertained again. But the fact that we're somehow, not only are we like having some grit, determination, and some soul for this team, we are finding results in the most improbable of ways. The most statistically unlikely that we have, traditionally not done. How the hell are we winning a penalty shootout in the playoffs, no less? I don't know. There's so much to unpack. There's a lot to get to. We have a bunch of guests, and AJ is showing up late, fashionably late tonight. So instead, I am with my wonderful co-host tonight, Glenn from the 5 Takes. Glenn, how are you doing? Welcome in. Are you as stoked as I am? Are you as jubilant, as elated? And you are eating your shoe. Why don't you tell the fine folks why you're doing that?
It's delicious! Nike, just do it! Let's go! I'm eating my shoe because earlier today, one of our followers tweeted something relatively optimistic about tonight, and that we might have a shot at it. And I said, if we win tonight, if we pull that off somehow, Glenn will eat his shoe. So, cheers. I'm happily eating my shoe.
There it is.
There's not a lot of times I'm lost for words, man. Not a lot. This might be one of them. It's just, I haven't felt this way since 2019. Maybe a couple times in 22, 23, scattered throughout, but like this genuine sense of like joy. And I think tonight reminded me how much I've missed that, how much I need it. I think we all need it, because we haven't been able to talk in this kind of glowing, like, just feeling the sense of pride. It's nice. It's nice, man.
It's nice. It's nice to be back, right? Are we back? Would you say we're back?
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But back in the playoffs, and
the playoffs proper too this time, not the faux playoffs that we currently win.
No, we played through. We're in, baby. It's again showing that the regular season doesn't fucking matter. It just doesn't.
Yeah,
we've seen it
when you let everyone in
with other teams. Yeah, I mean, look, your season can be trash. Our regular season was trash. It was, and I don't think anybody would argue that. Even, Jason and Mike Conti, who are, some of the more optimistic people, I think, surrounding this team. I don't want to call them homers, but I think they always try to inject a little bit of optimism, perspective in their broadcasts and post-match comments. And even they, at the end of this season, the last 5-6 games, were like, this team's just not very good.
Yeah.
We're just not good enough.
Where is it coming from? Where's this turnaround coming from?
Rob, I guess. I mean, F them all. It's speech that he gave, I don't know, man. I mean, I will say this for this team, and this has been a hallmark this season too. We do play up and play down to our opponents in moments, right? We tend to, if we're going to do something, wait until our backs are absolutely against the wall, or playing a team like Miami, which might favor us on Friday. When there doesn't feel like there's a whole lot on the line for us, we seem to not show up in those moments. And tonight was, it's win or go home. And I think the boys saw an opportunity to not only advance and go to the playoffs, but face the greatest team of all time in MLS history. At least the points say that.
Yes, that's right.
It can be debated about, if you really think they're the best team or whatever. And now you have an opportunity to say, oh, you got a dinner plate, bless your heart, and knock them out. And do it with Messi, arguably, I don't think there is an argument, the greatest to ever do it. And have that feather in your cap that no one will have ever again. No one will ever be able to say, I knocked Lionel Messi out of his first MLS playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
And however, global football wants to look at MLS and, the importance of the league around the world and the playoffs and what that means. I think it means a lot to these players, and to have that potential moment, or at least have a crack at it. I think they got up for it tonight. I think they did, and it might bode well on Friday because it's a short turnaround, baby. I mean, it's traveling again.
I mean, it's like what the admins for social or the social media admins for Atlanta United said, right? They said for the last game, they're like, next time bring Messi, and then they brought Messi, and then they were like, thanks for bringing Messi. So
thanks
this
for
time,
the whole squad this time.
It's like I hope you bring it all again, because apparently that's our bread and butter right now. We're the only team in the league to get 4 points out of Inter Miami this year. We are the Miami Slayers, apparently. We got their number somehow. So if there's any team designed, built from the ground up to tango with this team, it's us. We're the ones slated to bring them down. The whole league is looking to us. The whole league is giving, us the spirit bomb energy to take down the tyrant. So hopefully, that's what happens. That would be an unbelievable storyline. Would you say season success if we beat Miami, but we still go out afterwards?
Boy, that's a tough one. I guess it depends on your definition of success. We're still not sustainably successful. Like, clearly, you could be happy for this and joyful about it, but I don't think you could look on this run, however long it lasts, and go, okay, it's all good now. We fixed it. Mm-hmm. Right? So I don't want to, if I say it's successful, then mean that. It's all good now, baby. We got it. We're back. I don't think so. There's some successes. This is a success. Getting in the playoffs is a success. Beating Miami would be a monumental success. Successful, there's still a lot of work to do because, Garth is long-term. It's what he keeps talking about. Long-term sustainability to be competing for every trophy every year. And we're not there yet. And we weren't.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're in the dance now, and that's great. Successful, I think we've had successes. I'll put it that way. If you've picking up what I'm putting down.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get our good buddy Nick in the ATL in here tonight. Let me just get your camera set up real quick for me. Just get that face centered perfectly. Great. And Glenn's face.
Great face.
Also.
It's a great face.
Perfect. I go for perfect here. Everyone knows perfect. That. Everyone's used to perfection on this stream. Never made a mistake once. So. All right. Now that we got that. Nick, how you doing? Talk to me. How are you feeling? It's got to be good, right?
I can't believe I'm still alive after all of that.
Check your heart medications.
I've got to come clean, and everyone who is on the Discord in the match day chat, there are receipts that I practically forked us at the beginning of the penalty shootout. The fact that we went to a penalty shootout, I thought we were done for, and they proved me wrong. Thank God they proved me wrong.
Really?
Yeah, no one saw us winning, first of all, a shootout, and in the playoffs of all places, away. I mean, this is the most improbable kind of victory for Atlanta.
Yeah, indeed it was. And we were riding high all the way to halftime. And then the second half happened. And yeah, we were all there. We all saw it happen. Just that stupid ball left on the doorstep. Got away from Guzan, and just it's like time stopped right there. Time literally stopped. It felt like 30 seconds instead of 2 seconds before that ball got kicked into the back of the net. And at that point, you're thinking, "Yep, here we go."
Yeah. What happened there? How did he drop that? I mean, it almost was like a gift. It's like he just caught it and then kind of, here you go, rolled it over to, Joseph, his good friend, or as Felipe Cardenas wants to insinuate, oh, they're enemies now, but,
Oh, bless your heart, Felipe. I appreciate everything you do, but they're good. They're good.
You can only take that storyline so far.
You take it as far as like
ammunition to write about on this match, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did that happen? What do you think? What did you think of that?
I want to give Brad the benefit of the doubt on that the ball just got away from him and it just happened. It was bang bang. It just happened.
He's been on point. I mean, Brad has been on point for games and games and games, and all of a sudden he just bobbles that. That was. I mean, what killed me the most about it was the fact that Montreal could get nothing going on their side of things. They needed gifts to get anything, and we gave them two. And it was extremely frustrating. I thought perhaps we might lose because of that. I hate losing because of that. It's one thing if the other team just beats you from like worldies or just a good team goal, but they weren't producing anything. They couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. They were taking shots from out long because we had a low block, and for whatever, but then we're just like, hey, we're going to give you some super really easy goals. And their XG was like almost 3, which was ridiculous because of how easy those goals were. So that was incredibly frustrating.
Underperforming, that was underperforming. Up until that point, they were underperforming big time. And I was starting to see the writing on the wall. What are the Montreal fans going to talk about after this match? Is that it'd be similar to our chat of what kind of team was on that field? Who did we put out there? What team showed up?
Right.
It's the team prior to the last 7 matches. Mm-hmm. They showed up again. So, but what angered me even more was that foul right on the edge of the 18.
Yeah. What did you make of that?
I mean, did VAR make the right call? Probably.
I think so.
It was on the line. You have to make that call. I mean, it was dumb to even put ourselves in that situation in the first place. I mean, granted, people are more an expert than I am, but it seemed like to me you're playing it a little too close for comfort there in such a precarious situation.
How about it coming from a player who arguably hasn't been as good as he's needed to be this season? So that mistake comes from somebody you might expect to make that mistake. But then he also has a goal, his first goal of the whole season. What?
Yeah.
Like,
and then
Brad, who's been one of our most consistent players this season, who's stopped 3 penalties, he saved 1 in his prior to this in his whole career here, has a gaff. You're just like, oh, you? And then he saves a penalty. Like,
That's redemption.
At what point did Biff Tannen get in the DeLorean and the timeline has skewed?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. This isn't, I don't know what reality we're living in. I'm here for it right now. This feels great, and I haven't felt great about this team in years.
Yeah. One thing
honestly.
that what surprised me is the feeling of that you get when your team has set up that 2-0 lead. You know, the most dangerous lead in all of sports.
Yep.
And when we do that in these last two games, we have let the other team crawl back in, and in such a way that lends to their advantage significantly, in my opinion, which, you know, in terms of like if you can measure momentum in a game, the swings were there for them after scoring that goal, getting it back. Both teams in both games super surged us. Like, we were just defending upon defending, just holding it down. And in this game we broke, but in the other one we didn't somehow. And then somehow we just came back with the penalty kicks. But both games had that same pattern. And typically when that happens, we buckle and lose. Almost every time. And for 2 games in a row, high stakes games, we were able to pull it out. And in a way even. I mean, we typically wouldn't be able to do that at home.
Heck.
Yeah, it's just baffling to me. It's just, this is a different beast. Playoff Atlanta is a different beast right now. A switch has been flipped. Saba started to drink energy drinks before the game or something, but something's different, and whatever it is, that chemical X is really kicking into high gear, and it's just insane to see. So let me get into some of these comments before I let too many of them come in and we don't get to them all. Gavin says, I don't believe it 3 times back to back in the chat. Alan Salazar says, I called it from the beginning, straight to penalty kicks. I'm going to call it right now. Majority of our matches will end in penalty kicks. Jack Dickens says, let's fucking go. I have to say, as much as we have a long way to go to get back to our glory days, I'm very fucking proud of the team, and they have showed fight. I'm proud to be an Atlanta fan from the UK. Well,
all right.
Gracias.
You're up late.
Yeah, thank you for being here from the UK and watching. I really appreciate that.
3 a.m.er. All right.
Hello,
Yeah,
hello.
that's an intense dedication. We really respect that. Connor Thompson says no, probably talking about all games ending in PKs. Yesteryear ATL says up to 5 stripes. Whaler Willie says we won, vamos. Kyle says Saba is so frustrating on a break. I'm sure Tiari would love to just kick that dude. He also says this team is allergic to possession. Well, we kind of want them to be. It's apparently the only way we can be competitive. Mavery, let me just get a couple more that you can go off on it. Mavery and his cuisine said, I hate being an Atlanta United fan. It's freaking awesome. That's the bipolar aspect of this. Yeah, I get it. Mavery also says, also shout out to the classless Montreal fans who chose to verbally disrespect Jason Longshore and Mike Conti. Didn't hear that.
I wonder what's
sucks.
up with that.
That sucks.
What happened?
Yeah, do you know anything about that, Nick?
No, I don't.
Okay, yeah, Mavery, if you could elaborate in the chat, that'd be great. And Donta Spite says, let's do Atlanta United. Let's go Atlanta United. Mavery also says, also sorry for the fans who can't afford those 150 plus playoff ticket $1. Yeah. And Donta also says, time to get revenge on Inter Miami. I mean, revenge for what? We have a winning record against these guys. It's crazy. They need to get revenge against us, honestly.
Yes.
And then Uzumaki says, Miro was a ghost tonight. I'd like a top-class winger for next season. Tiare could be the guy with more help. So pick and choose any of those comments. Go ahead, either of you.
The ball part about not having it.
Allergic to possession.
Yeah. So
it's working.
We're
right?
better without the ball.
Yeah, we don't have the technicians.
At least this season. Like, the problem with having the ball and everybody think they can play city ball and Pep Guardiola ball, you gotta know what to do with it. Having 65% of the ball is exhausting, man. You gotta pass teams to death. You gotta be like so in sync with each other. That's a lot of time to have the ball. If you don't have the ball, just be opportunistic. Be good with your chances, which we haven't been. I know, like our XG speaks to that. Clearly, we're not clinical. We have been tonight. I think this team, at least this iteration of it is set up better to. I'm not saying bunker, line of 5, and counter. That's not what I'm saying. But we're better in transition, and I wish we would do more of it.
45 passes.
I was just about to say that.
45 passes.
We strung 45 before that Pedro assist. Or 44 before that Pedro assist. I guess that counts as a pass. So that was unbelievable. I couldn't believe that statistic. And what's his name? Matt Doyle from ESPN was like, I've been watching this game for like 30 years, and I rarely ever, if ever, have seen that many passes before a goal continuously.
I didn't even know that stat. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. Let's see, any more comments? Yeah, guys, get your comments in. They're going to keep coming fast tonight. Kyle says, you got to admit that second half chasing is why they broke down. Yeah, it's probably what you're meaning when you said that. I mean, to be fair to them, they threw the kitchen sink at us and they did crawl back. So, it worked.
Joseph.
Too.
He's one of the most clinical finishers in the history of the league. I know his form hasn't been good. He looks pretty good now. That looked like vintage Joseph.
He's playing into form for sure.
Yeah. So, I'm not that mad at it.
Yeah. Donta says,
remember what I said.
Go ahead, Nick.
Remember what I said towards the end of the second half when they took a close-up of him and he's sticking his tongue out and smiling. I said in the chat, there's his swagger. That is dangerous.
It is. Yep.
I've seen that. We've all seen that before.
Yeah, we all knew what that meant, and we were all shaking a bit when we saw that. Mad Joseph and Happy Joseph, one in the same, is a scary thing. Mavery and his cuisine said, so immediately after final shutout, the shootout kick, Montreal fans turned their frustrations on the press booth, telling our team to leave in very explicit language. Was it in French? But Mike and Jason handled it like victors. Well, good for Mike and Jason. They're class acts. So
that's surprising. I've been to Montreal. It's a great away experience. Atl Utd is a lovely stadium. Montreal is a fabulous city, and everybody there is usually so polite. I get it. This is different. It's playoffs. Emotions are high.
Yeah, have you ever been there at a playoff hockey game? Things change.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. Yeah. Fair enough.
Maybe they said rentre chez toi, Atlanta. Go the fuck home, Atlanta.
They probably did.
Guess I just put it in Google Translate.
I mean, there was probably something like that.
You're French.
Ooh, Mavery said it made the broadcast on Apple, so I'm sure someone will post it online. Well, if anyone can find that, throw it in the Discord. I'd love to see it. That would be interesting. Adam Armad, if you're out there and listening, if you find that would be huge. Yes. Kyle says, I think guys hate TRA. They refuse to look up to pass him back. Yeah, I mean the passive death is something I feel like we don't do enough of. The cutback, the dreaded cutback. The cutback. Just look up.
You said this. You've been saying this for a few matches, a long time. No cutbacks.
Yeah.
Why? That's what we're allergic to. Not possession, cutbacks.
Yeah, that one with TRA was heartbreaking. He was wide open. Wide.
4 yards all around him.
Yeah.
Smashes it.
So, that was unfortunate. Yeah. Drew says, that doesn't surprise me. The damn French. Yeah, well, Drew being a hockey fan knows probably a little bit more. Jack says, by the way, we can just talk about how good Pedro Amador has been. Dare I say an upgrade? I would say so. I mean, just with the small sample size so far, I think it's been quite clear. No shade to Wiley. He's just a different type of player. Pedro can just drop it on a guy.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I hope he's okay.
He literally left it all on the field, didn't he? Yeah. And got subbed off.
Well, he's done it multiple times this season already. The guy takes hits and comes back. It's really impressive. I called him what the hell they call Bandage Bros or whatever I said on Twitter with him and Steon. I forget.
Right, yeah.
Sam Kent says, thoughts on not being able to go up 3-0 when we had so many chances on the break when we were up 2-0. Yeah, that one opportunity we were just talking about, TRA, should have put the game away 100%.
Lennon almost had a brace. If that ball had bounced just a little bit better, he would have had that in the back of the net.
Yeah. I mean,
we went up 3-0 in the last match too, though. With Alexi, you got to convert that penalty.
Yes.
As he was stepping up to the spot, I was like, will he just miss it again? You know, I did not think he would make it, and he just calmly and coolly put it right in.
He had more zip on it this time. That ball was hit with a little bit of venom, still tucked in the, like, he places it really well. It's always in the corner. It's just the last time it was just too casual, and this time he smacked it. So good on him.
He didn't just pass it. Yeah, it was a laser beam right in. Let's see. Kyle said fake penalty, but come on, Lennon. I mean, yeah, we said it was probably a fair penalty. But yeah, Lennon doing that in that spot, you got to be a little bit more aware, a little bit more sagacious with your choice of behavior there.
Sagacious.
Jack Dickens says Jay had a good game tonight, I thought. Yes, he did. And I think the only reason he got taken off is because he was exhausted. So I think he had a great game, yeah.
Agreed.
And Kyle says to Sam, Kent, that's the Saba effect about us just not being able to put chances away. Yeah, to that effect, it was. I mean, we know we've been having. Glenn mentioned this earlier. We've been having a difficult time putting away our chances, just not being clinical. It's been a thing for a while. We clearly lack a high quality 9 on the team. That's just obvious, and like also another really, really good winger to complement Saba too. So, you know, hopefully those things get shored up, but that's probably the biggest explainer for why we are struggling to put these chances away. Players like Saba and Miranchuk, if he gets the chance in this, like, he's starting to look around. He still has that mind to pick up his head and look around. Saba, Tiare, Rios, definitely Rios, when they get the ball and they just kind of blinders on, like, you know, the targeting computer from Star Wars. They don't look at anything else, and it's just you know, that's frustrating. They need to not do that. They can open up so many more team goals, but it is what it is.
If you're going to bring Star Wars into this, it's got to come down to use the Force, Luke.
Nice, good. I love that.
I got another Star Wars quote, and I'm Luke in this situation, and one of y'all can be Yoda. I don't believe it. That's why. Yeah, and I haven't. But I want to give the fans a little bit of grace here, because, you know, Rob he used that you know, hey, fuck them all. They were never with you anyhow. I'm not saying he was talking about the fans, but maybe some of the pundits and other people out there.
Oh, definitely.
It's not like that hasn't been without reason.
Right.
The team hasn't shown, even coming into this moment in the previous match, that we were like on the brink of unlocking something and becoming who we were always meant to be. No, we haven't shown anything, and all of a sudden, here we are.
Right.
That's great. I'm here for it. I love it. I don't care. Win. However, but, you know, there's been reasons that the belief hasn't been there.
100%.
Just to make that a little bit clear. I'm a believer now. Let's go. I'm riding to Miami. Let's do it. You know.
Awesome, yeah, 100%. I'm definitely on board for whatever this chaos ball is. I was tempted to open the episode tonight with trying to suss out in the chat, if this person exists in the chat or in our community or watches us, who is sacrificing like goats or something to get this magic on our side? Because this is, like I said, it's almost more than improbable. It just seems like impossible, but here we are, and I'm here for it. All right, Nick, final thoughts for us before you head on out?
It's just so easy to write off this team, given the track record of what has happened prior to Decision Day. But you just can't write this team off. They have some kind of fire in them that just finds a way to win. And if any Miami fans are listening to this, look out. This team is for real. And I don't know when Cinderella's time is the clock is gonna strike midnight, you know, but we have a story here, and I am here for it, and I will not fucking quit on this team now.
Absolutely.
They need our support. They need everyone to get out there and support them, especially on game 2. No matter what happens in game 1, we've got to all show up for game 2. I don't care if you have to take out a second mortgage or sell your first child for a ticket. Get in that supporter section and let's fucking support this team.
We are
They
not
need it now.
We are not sponsored by.
We do not advocate that, by the way.
Look, the pressure's on Miami.
Oh yeah.
You are supposed to win this league. You are the greatest player of all time. They are in win now mode because you're not going to have these guys anymore. It's a term that gets thrown around a lot, but we have house money. Absolutely house money. You got a group of guys who got nothing left to lose. In Dax's case, quite literally.
That.
Go. Do it. Like, that would be the ultimate coup. This team would be talked about. This iteration of this team would be talked about for years if it happens.
Yeah. If this is how you cement your legacy, this series
Oh my gosh.
in the playoffs is how. Like, I agree with you. I hadn't really thought about that, but yeah, this could be the trophy you're seeking. This could be your you beat Miami in the playoffs trophy could be worth more than an MLS Cup. Like it's.
Yes, I agree totally, 100%.
Could be the beginning of the build back, just like when we lost in 2019 to Toronto. That was kind of the beginning of the slide. This could be, maybe, I don't know. It's a big moment. It's a big moment.
Yeah.
I was at that match, and that felt like a gut punch that we never recovered from.
Yeah, we should have won that game. That was, I will stand on a hill and pronounce that forever.
Definitely.
We should have won that game, and I hated the fact that Toronto was going to go on to play Seattle because I know Toronto was going to get absolutely demolished by Seattle and wasn't going to be even an entertaining game because they didn't deserve to be there. We deserve to be there. Or rather, Seattle deserved to be with us in Atlanta getting beat. But just, the soccer gods did not shine kindly on us that night. All right, Nick, thank you very much. We'll talk to you the next game. I can't believe I'm saying that. I feel like we keep doing it. Like,
bring it on Friday.
we shouldn't be having these episodes, and we are, and I'm happy that we are. So, thanks, Nick. We'll talk to you later, bud.
Good night,
Cheers.
Michael.
Good night.
All right, let me get to a little bit more of the chat while we wait on our next guest. All right, let's see. What do we got going here? Jack Dickens says, our good friend from England says, actually say UK, so technically it could be like Ireland or Scotland or something, so
Yeah, sure.
Forgive me if I've gotten the country wrong. He says, I would keep Rob as an assistant coach, but I have a feeling another MLS team may get him. I mean, at this point, I feel like his stock is going through the roof. I wouldn't be surprised if someone comes and tries to get him. That would be great for him. I think he deserves a shot at a head coach now at this, but maybe not at a club like ours that's trying to be the premier club of the league. I just don't think that fits. However, I think he's earned a shot at perhaps another type of team. I really do think so. Or I wouldn't be opposed to keeping him on as an assistant because he's just done so damn good at that. So it is what it is.
I mean, whoever gets him, whoever wants to poach him, you'll get good value for him, and I think he's going to have success somewhere eventually. He's a great guy. I think he's going to be a great coach. He's a player's coach, and I think he will do well wherever he ends up.
Absolutely. Let me see if Gab, can you get your camera on for me, and then there it is. There it is.
Yeah.
All right, let me load you in here. All right, Gavin, you're finally able to join us for a big win, for a playoff win. How does it feel? Is this your first coming on the show for a playoff win?
I can't remember if I was going for the Columbus victory. I don't remember. I might have been. I'm not sure, but one thing I will tell you is the last time I was on here for a win was the third game of the season against Orlando. That was the last time I was on here for a win. Every other time, we've lost the game because we've been terrible this season. Awful.
Yeah.
But what I'm seeing tonight, not just tonight, but on Saturday night in Orlando, like, we've completely flipped the script. Like, this team is actually winning. I gotta get this out of the way, though. We have to stop giving these 3 goals away. We did that against Philadelphia. We did that against New York City. We have done that so many times and it's screwed us over. And we got lucky. In the playoffs, there's one time you cannot do that, and that's in the playoffs. And you did that, and you actually won a penalty shootout, and I'm speechless. Like, after just like seeing us up 2-0, I'm like, this does not seem right. I don't know. Like, but it looks right, but it doesn't because it's in Montreal. We never. I mean, who would have thought? Atlanta United in Montreal, the playoff match, wild card. I mean, I didn't even think we'd make the playoffs.
I mean, Montreal, like they have only let in like a very small amount of goals at home this season, and they let in 2 this game.
Yeah.
It's where, like, I don't. Yeah, to your point, like, what the heck is this team? Where did it come from?
Yeah, and they scored because of a gift from Guzan. I think that's what it was. That was terrible.
Yeah.
And a penalty. That's the only way they scored. They scored off of a gift. 2 gifts, pretty much, basically. Yeah. Giveaway from Guzan and a penalty. That's the only way they scored. We have to stop giving away those gifts, and we cannot do that against Miami. If there's a team that you are gonna give gifts away to, it is not Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, they're stacked. Lionel Messi, Suarez. I mean, you name the rest.
Yeah.
There's a team you cannot do that against, and that is Messi and Miami. You cannot do that against Miami.
I mean, we committed the cardinal sins of giving away free goals this game. We've done it in the past, and it's come back to bite us pretty much every time. How did we, like, when did we become the team to just not let that mentality get away from us? We've let the mentality get away from us so much, and then it just runs, and we're just left bereft of any confidence, and then we get slammed, and it just seems unavoidable. It seems like it's been written in the stars. It's inevitable. We all see it coming. The heads start going down, and then it's just bing bang boom. That's all she wrote. But for whatever reason, in these last couple games, these last 3 games, I guess, like this grit, this determination, this never say die mentality. It's like it went from, like, okay, my expectation is I would have liked it to have gone from like completely non-existent, which is what it was, to like serviceable, to be realistically like what a normal team would expect of, like, okay, you take some hits, yes, sometimes you go down, you get defeated or whatever, and you come back sometimes, and it's what it is. This team is just like, no, never, we're never getting defeated mentally ever again. And I'm just like, what? Where did this come from? It's a completely, like you said, a 180, and it blows my mind. I've never seen this in MLS before. It's nuts.
You know your team has fallen from grace when you're just begging for normal. Just show me something, some basic level of competency. Yeah. But if anything, this team doesn't do half measures. It's like me in that I don't have a dimmer switch either. I'm on or I'm off. This team is going to do the thing or not do the thing. 0% or 100%. And lately we're just seeing the 100, and it's
Gavin,
nice.
what do you think? What do you attribute to the switch going from 0 to 100?
Like, I don't like. I'm just speechless. I don't even know. Like, no one, like, no Atlanta fan, no Orlando fan, like, no Montreal fan, nobody thought we would make it this far. Like we've completely flipped the script. Like, no one, like, this is by far, like, so far, and we can make it bigger. This is, like, in our club history, one of the biggest turnarounds we've had, and we have the chance to make it one of the biggest turnarounds in MLS history if we can pull another rabbit out of the hat against Miami.
To your point, I want to add and say, perhaps, maybe someone could, like, fact check me on this. I don't know if people keep track of, like, the biggest, underdog runs of MLS through the playoffs, but this could be that. If we beat Miami and go forward,
yes,
that to me is like, how do you go from a team that literally the pundits, and rightfully so, like we pointed out, kind of said don't really belong in the playoffs, to all of a sudden doing things like this? It's nonsensical. I mean, some people might say, counterpoint might be like, well, this is MLS, all the teams are kind of trash, so anything can happen. And I'm like, I don't think that's a good argument, but I feel like people who don't watch MLS might say that a lot, so I want to head that off.
And they would, but it will be the biggest. I mean, you can make an argument for Sporting last year, and
true.
then knocking out St. Louis, and they were trash in the first half of the season. They had a lot of injuries, and Shalloway finally coming back towards the end of the season, and some other players that made a big difference for them. But I'm sorry, Atlanta being the team that it was this season, losing the players that we did this season, barely sneaking in 10% chance, and then taking out, if it happens, the greatest team to ever play in the league, at least that's what the stats and points say. Yeah, it's gonna be, and I don't think there's an argument against that. So
with one DP,
all year, with one DP,
what?
all year, I think we've got a real chance against Miami, and it's not just blind hope and optimism. This team has played up to its opponents and down. We don't play until we absolutely have to, or there's a big moment. I don't think it gets bigger than this. A chance to write yourself into history. You will be talked about for years if you take out Messi. Like, we already did it once. If I'm Miami, I'm nervous as hell right now because all the pressure is on you. You are expected to win. Atlanta is not.
What do you think about that, Gavin? Do you think Messi?
They know,
pressure's on Messi?
They know we beat them. They know we can beat them. They know we've done it before. And I mentioned this before. I mentioned this after, the last time I was on here. I mentioned if there's a team that we want in the playoffs to upset, the team that we know we beat and done it before, because Miami have not beat us since it was Messi's second match in MLS. It was time, but we don't got to go back to that. That's ever since that, we've had their number. We've had them. And yeah, like I said, there's one team that we can beat that's really good as Miami. And now we get to go to their place where we won, and now they get to come here, to Atlanta, where we brought them to a draw. Where you never know, we could win a penalty shootout again. Because if we can, I don't know. I'm more shocked that we actually won the shootout than just. Yeah,
we went perfect. We went perfect.
Perfect. Exactly perfect. I was after that Guzan save, I'm okay, I don't care what Montreal does. I don't care if they make all of them. I just think we need to make all of our shots, and we did that. Everyone made their shots. Dax McCarty, shout out to him. I don't know how old he is, but this is last season. That was supposed to be, well, not supposed to. It could have been his last MLS game, and it was a great penalty. Dax McCarty scored. Derek Willie, I don't know everyone that shot, but everyone scored. And we won the penalty shootout. And that's just the most surprising part to me about tonight. Because historically, all Atlanta fans know it, we are not good on penalties. We lost both shootouts in Leagues Cup. The only one we won was against Charleston in the U.S. Open Cup. That was it. I was there to witness it. I was shocked there, and I'm shocked here again.
Can we talk about Dax? Can we talk about Dax for just a minute? Here's a man that's had a career, 20 years. And he's done it everywhere, and he's done it well, and he'll be a legend in this league. So now, here he comes to possibly end his career on one kick of the ball. Yeah. Ice cold, he does it. You want to talk about pressure moment? I don't know if it gets any more pressure than this could be the last time I kick a ball professionally. But I got to stay cool. And he does it. And he goes first. Ice in this man's veins. Just what a pro. I'm so fucking happy for him that he gets to end a couple more games and he gets to go up against Messi again. I'm delighted for the guy and impressed as hell that moment. His whole career must have been flashing before his eyes as he casually strolls up to the ball to maybe do it the last time he does it.
Yeah. He was also the first penalty kick taker in the DC game in the Leagues Cup. I don't remember if he was in Santos' game, but I remember for a fact I think he was that first kick taker against DC. So I like it because he slopped them home. He threw good penalty kicks from what I saw. Yeah. He might have got I don't remember if he got one with Santos, but yeah, I think he's a solid first PK taker.
Yeah, clearly. I'm sold on him. Just he steps up, I'm happy with it. I was expecting our, Maranchuk or someone to set the tone early, but he has completely sold me as this is this is the order I kind of want us to go in when we do penalties. All right, let me get some of these comments. Ingest 100 says, forget Sabatime. How about Goose turning back the clock? That's right. Kyle says, get more Steon on the pitch. Yeah, I mean, just if we could get him in more than 90 plus minutes, I would somehow. Jack Diggins says, I did love how Brad gave Joseph a hug at full time. I still love Joseph. He's still part of our club in my heart, even though he always scores on us. That's true. I mean, like, at least we can give him some goals, even though that's the thing. I'm okay with giving him goals as long as we win. Like, he can score as many as we want, as many as he wants, as long as we score one more. So, I'm okay with that. Let's see. Alan Salazar says, I think we entered into a different dimension with this team. Certainly feels like it. Kyle says, makes my Apple TV subscription worth it. Donta Spade says, let's go Atlanta United. Facts. Michael Cador says, sorry for talking shit about Joseph in the Discord. It just feels great to beat him after the shit show that happened when they were here. Yeah, no, I mean, they had our number this season for sure. Beat us twice, and somehow the one that mattered, we put him to bed.
It felt good to actually like finally beat Joseph when he's not playing against us. The only time I think we've actually beat him was when we beat Miami 5-2. He was a substitute in that game, but when he's starting, I don't think we've beat him before.
When he's starting in good form.
Exactly.
Good form.
Yeah, in good form. Like, good Joseph in the playoffs, it feels great. No better time to do it than now. So, I mean, you can say that, but don't make it personal. As a soccer player, sure, just don't make it, don't take it too far. But, yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say F Joseph, but still, I mean, we beat him. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I think Nick, when he was on the podcast last time, said it best about Joseph. When he's playing us, he's the opponent. But when he's not, he's still a club legend. So that's kind of the way I see it. Drew says, can I sell my kidneys for the tickets coming up for the Miami game? Joshua says, when is the home games? I think you said, so the first one you said is Friday, Glenn, and then the home game would be when?
November 2nd.
November 2nd. All right, which is a Saturday, 7 o'clock, November 2nd. So mark your calendars.
Game one against Miami at 8:30, by the way, which is kind of a strange time, in my opinion.
It is kind of an odd time.
Yeah, weird.
I think we lose that one, by the way. The first one.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Doesn't matter.
I think we beat them at...
We got
3. Atlanta in 3.
We can do that. We had Columbus in the second game. We can win at home. I think we can do it again. The pressure was on Columbus in game 3, but they got us there. But hey, I'm sure we can definitely do better, especially against Miami, because I'd rather face Miami than Columbus. Much rather.
Yeah, like they play. I mean, obviously, like Columbus is just a complete team, whereas Miami is very heavily reliant on, being able to play their way with the ball, and they leave a lot of space open for teams to counter them and to play in between the spaces. And we are apparently good at that. So that's what I like to see going up against them. Hopefully Tata Martino, the genius that he is, doesn't change anything, but maybe he will. So it's but it's so hard to change when you have a player like AJ pointed this out, like Lionel Messi, Suarez, they don't track back. They don't play defense. They don't try and come back. So the midfield is almost always vacant with them when the game gets stretched. So there seems to be, always a chance.
You're right. I think you're right. I think we match up better against Miami. Columbus scares me legitimately because they play just amazing team ball.
Yep.
Miami. Yeah. You got Messi, Suarez, Alba, Busquets. You've got terrifying individual quality. But like you were saying with those spaces, I think it's a little bit more exploitable for us. There's not a lot to exploit with Columbus. There is with Miami. I'm not trying to downplay them. Like, this will be hard. Very hard.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it comes down to whether or not, the superstars from Miami just, show up and do their thing.
Right.
Like, if they just nail wonder balls all night, there's just nothing you can do about that.
No. If they show up, they show up.
Yeah.
With Columbus, everybody's showing up.
Yeah.
And it's not about 1 or 2, 3 or 4 players for them. It is about the whole 11. And with Miami, it is a little bit more about like those guys got to shine, and if they don't, your chances decrease dramatically.
Yeah. Let me get 2 more of these comments and then we'll get Gavin's final thoughts about the match tonight. Jack Dickens says, I'm from London, guys. Oi, mate, from London. All right. I'm glad that you are watching us from across the pond. Brian Singleton says, Rob may just want to stay in Atlanta at this point. If he has a family, they put down roots deep into the city. Likely that is the case. I mean, yeah, it's definitely an option. I mean, it's an attractive gig to be an assistant coach at Atlanta, but I mean, for a guy who I know I think he was taking like coaching classes at a certain point when he was the assistant coach for us. I think he probably has aspirations to be the head coach. So, I mean, at this point, with how many times he's had to be interim, I mean, you know, he's going to be perhaps like a coach, a coach that has a lot of first team, you know, coaching experience, you know, like at this point, it's almost as if like maybe, I don't even know, I have to think about it, but he might have like a whole season like under his belt by now in terms of games. So it's wild to think about how much he's been our first team coach now. So yeah, Gavin, what is your final thoughts about this game?
I was going to follow up on that. Either way, whatever happens, if he's the coach or not, which I don't know, I think we could probably see Patrick Vieira coming in, but whoever is our coach, he's a coach, he's staying. If he's not our coach, I think he's like, even when interim, when Gabriel Heinze got sacked, he was still here. I still think he'll probably be here, but what it does interest me is when you said he was taking coaching classes. I'm sure he would love to be a coach, I'm sure, but he's in the past he's stayed here after we sacked coaches. He's still here, and I feel like he could stay either way.
Yeah,
that's that. And one thing I wanted to go back to earlier was what concerns me is that when we beat Columbus, I mean it's part of the game, set pieces. Going into the game we had 0 set piece goals, and then I believe both of the goals we scored from Steen Gregerson off of set pieces. We beat Columbus off of set pieces. That's the way to win. But not every time you're going to score off of a set piece. So we have to beat Columbus, but they're off of set pieces. And when we beat Miami last time, it was a whole different team. Because Almada was still here. We had Wiley. Malcolm Marcus was on the bench. Again, though, it was a whole different team. So, like, we pulled a draw against them with the team we have now. That's all we've seen so far. But do we have what it takes to, you know, at least get that first goal again like we did tonight and against Orlando, and we score first again? Or, like, can we keep the ball less? Will they have the ball more? Because clearly, like you said, Glenn, we look better without the ball as much as we had through the season. With the ball more, we haven't looked as good and done nothing with it. But without it, looked better. So, and you get that first goal.
Yep, and all these teams want to play with the ball in the playoffs.
Come from behind. Oh, yeah, and you got to remember, even if you tie the game, there's no ties. Only kicks. Or I think in the wild card, is it only the wild card that you go straight to penalties? Like in the next, is there extra time in the next round?
I think in the next round it's still straight to penalties.
That's my guess.
I don't think you go to extra time until I want to say the quarters.
That's my guess too. Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Point still stands.
It's annoying how it changes so often that it just can't just stay
year to year.
Yeah.
Never know with MLS.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Again, we have a chance to make history, and I think we can do that against a team that we can definitely beat and done before.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right, Gavin. Thank you so much for your takes.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. I mean, glad to have you on also for a win finally. That's awesome.
I know, right? Like, what the hell, man? Where's this been all season? I've been waiting for this. Like,
it's a great time. You should try it more often.
Yeah, should.
Exactly.
Feels great.
I'm not able to come on here as more often as I was like last season. Like, I'm so glad I was finally come on here for a win. And hey, maybe I'll be able to come on here for the Miami game if we win that too.
All right, looking forward to it. Yeah, hopefully.
Well, yeah. Hopefully. Yep.
All right, thanks, Gavin.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, no problem. We'll talk to you later, bud.
Later, bud.
All right, so let's get a couple more It's AJ in the chat says go straight to penalties.
Straight to penalties. Yeah, that's a still. Yeah, in the quarterfinals, I believe.
So let's see. Donna Spate says blow my mind too. Uzumaki says Williams has been excellent. Do you wanna talk about Williams for a second? His performance in this game.
Yeah, he's been another one of those guys. Not just this game, but this season. That we've been saying that this team needs more intelligent footballers that just read the game, make good decisions. He's one of those. He's got a lot of physicality too. He's a keeper for me. I hope we do retain, and there's other players in the squad that I think we need to move on from, but not him. I think he can be and is really key to the whole defensive apparatus, especially depending on what we do with Goose, if we keep him or not, exercise this option or not. But as far as just kind of organizing things back there, if we don't keep Goose, he becomes even more important for me. I hope he can be a long-term fixture of the back line for us, because he just strikes me as, we were missing an Irishman for a long time anyhow.
I think he's gonna be Jake Mulroney.
Yeah, man, we needed one, and I don't know, he's a club guy. You can tell he plays with a lot of heart, a lot of emotion. It means something for him, and that's kind of an intangible thing. Like, how do you quantify that? What does it mean to the team? But personalities, look what Joseph does for Montreal. Like, people rally around that, and I think he can be that guy, and we need more of that on this team. We need more personality. We need more vocal leaders out there, and not just in goal, and he's one of those. So he has been great. He was great tonight. I could keep showering praise on him. I love him. I think he's a good dude. Keep him. And he doesn't cost us much. I don't think he's costing us much.
Yeah, completely agree about that. He's every time we've kind of needed someone to step up defensively, he's been the man. A stalwart. I mean, for the price, you can't really go wrong. It was like 400 some. It's just incredible with this find. I mean, just like we kind of hit on these kind of, your non-DP, your non-TAM guys lately with Williams and Pedro. It's just been really good, swimming in it. So hopefully that continues. All right, Glenn, I'm gonna sub you out for AJ.
Yeah, that's great.
And he's gonna come in and give his takes on everything. Thanks for keeping the seat warm for us and hanging out with me.
Hell yeah, man. It felt good to come on and be positive.
Right.
It's been tough. It's been tough because we try to keep it real on 5 Takes. You guys try to keep it real here too, and we don't sugarcoat things. We don't sunshine pump. We just say what it is, and what it is hasn't been good. And now we can finally say, this has been good. Mm-hmm. It's been joyful. Yeah. And it's just, I've missed it. I forgot how much I missed just being happy about it.
Just entertaining, and damn it, we're winning soccer. Like,
are you not entertained?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, I am. This is all I've wanted.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, Glenn. I appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for coming in, and I'll talk to you again soon.
All right. See y'all soon. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So we are about to be very close now. It's coming very soon. Joined by AJ. AJ, how you doing? Welcome to your stream.
Welcome to my stream. That's hilarious. Thank you so much for holding it down. And,
no problem.
Glenn subbing in as well. Last minute notice, but incredible stuff as always. But yeah, it's a win. It's a win in the playoffs, guys. Like, we haven't felt that in some time. So I am definitely stoked, especially after having to wait nearly an hour to give my takes here. But I have no idea what was said before, but so I may reiterate some things that maybe people were thinking.
Yeah, sure. But just put an exclamation point on all of it.
Yeah, I mean, it really is where, we're really fighting against a lot of odds here. A penalty that's tough to swallow a little bit, but yeah, Joseph Martinez always scoring multiple goals against us. It's just a whole thing where, it's we're really fighting against everything tonight. I mean, lower seed on the road. We played better on the road this season now somehow under Rob Valentino, and it has everything, I think, to do with the playing style where we're eschewing possession and really, I think, prioritizing being as direct as possible and trying to be clinical. And we were clinical tonight in the sense that the goals that we took, well taken. The ones that we missed, frustrating, obviously, as always. But the penalty shootout, we won a penalty shootout. Like, that's a
in the
that's a
playoffs
rarity
away.
I know.
What a way to break
maybe just
that buck, like to throw that monkey off. It's like, let me get the most difficult scenario. I mean, honestly, the only other difficult scenario could be like against Miami for the MLS Cup, but this was pretty high up there in terms of high stakes, and we somehow were able to find it.
And especially, it's a kind of redemption a little bit for Brad Guzan as well, where he's able to save a penalty. Where, I mean, this year he's been insane in front of any penalty. It's like a pretty good save ratio.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's Brooks Lennon as well, where his gaff obviously allows them to equalize, but
where did that header come from?
I know, like him playing at right wing, that was a stroke of genius by Rob Valentino. I mean, I have to give him credit.
Yeah, we forget how fast the guy is.
He is, and to streak to that back post and head it back to where it came from, really, really well taken header, and probably took Tiare by surprise because he probably didn't realize that he was going to have a teammate.
Yeah.
Right there after he misses the header, because if he misses it and Brooks Lennon isn't there, that was like a really bad miss.
Yeah.
It's like that's on a plate for him.
I mean, it's just like, I mean, Doug Roberson's probably happy, right? Like, finally a back post runner. Finally.
I mean, I think a lot of us have been clamoring for that.
Oh, yeah.
It's us really targeting those back posts where we get undone all the time. But finally we give some teams some of their own medicine. So, but
it's about time.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah. But it is the defense does worry for sure, especially with Amador, going out. The extent of that injury, who knows? And so, definitely am concerned, especially which side is that going to be on? Messi's side. So, gonna be a little bit.
Amador, I don't know the stats about this, but like he played in the Spanish First Division, right?
I think it was the Portuguese.
Oh, he was in the Portuguese? Oh, okay. All right. Never mind then.
Yeah.
He probably hasn't played against Messi. But I could have sworn he was in the Spanish. But so then it doesn't matter. So, I mean, either way, it's kind of like I was saying earlier, like, I was amazed that Stian and Pedro were able to come back after that one game where they got trashed. And they came back. I hope it's the same thing and the narrative continues, that these guys just take hits and keep coming. Like, the grit, this team just doesn't die. They are like unkillable. Right now it's absurd. I don't, like I said at the outset, or not at the outset, but like sort of in the middle of the stream, I was like, who is sacrificing how many goats to like make this happen? It's just it's ridiculous to me. Let me get
the entire city of Chicago's all the Billy Goats that are...
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's unbelievable. So let me get to some of these comments. Cheer Wine Guy says, my concern is that Rob's been here, but he's been here, meaning he's been here through the bad. I'm for starting over completely with the coaching staff. None of them have had us top 3 in MLS. Like, I see your, if I understand what you were writing, I see your point in that, like, he's clearly was along for the ride for the terrible times. So I get that you're just like, it'd probably be, and for the balance of probability, I mean, you probably are right there. So like, I don't think it would hurt to just move on from him if he got a call, which he very well might after a performance like this, to get like a head coaching job somewhere. Give him a shake. I think that makes sense, and I wouldn't hate it. I would actually say he deserves it. So go ahead. Kyle Apigar says, time to go dragon slaying in Miami, kitty training in Orlando, disciplining the crew, and taking the gold from LAFC. This is my prediction if we live the dream. I love it. I love the way you put it. If I could pin this comment, I would. Yeah, maybe AJ will tweet it out later and then credit you, Kyle Apigar, about that. Jack Dickens says, I have to say on Williams, I thought even in his first 10 games, I knew he'd be good for us. He's so composed, and that's something we've been lacking, right? Composure and that mentality. I went on a whole thing earlier about mentality and how we're a team characteristically has not had it, and then all of a sudden now we flipped a switch, and it's like we have it in abundance. We are lousy with it, and it's all over the place, and it's unbelievable to see how this team just never gives up and never dies. And I don't know. Some of the Patreon members were saying, was it Rob's speech? Was it the fuck everyone else speech, AJ, that made them like this? Like, what is it?
Yeah, I don't think it was that, but I think this team it's a team that needs motivation to begin with, and it's a big enough occasion. Backs against the wall. It's a knockout game, and we've been, I think, fairly fortunate in some of those regards when it comes down to that. So, yeah, I mean, this is a big result. I think it puts some fear into the rest of the teams that are, we're not the team that we were earlier on this season. Like, we can possibly really hurt you if you don't. It's basically this. It's like if they decide to keep the ball, like, we will almost very likely be able to punish you if we get our chances. So it's hopefully that continues where we can score first, because what happens when we score first?
Yeah, that seems to be the key, right? Is the scoring first. That seems to be super important. It's funny. I'm just like imagining, like, our team is this like very like brittle old man basically saying, like, it's like, oh, be careful, we'll hurt you if you give us a chance, be very careful. It just seems so meek and mild, kind of the way you put it. It's just like, it's like, oh, we'll hurt you if you're not careful. You better look out. So anyway, we got Drew. Drew, how you doing? Welcome to the stream.
Yeah, you're getting.
I'm
doing good.
What is your internet doing over there, AJ? Is it going in and out?
I was gonna say.
I don't know, but either way, you were sounding very Family Guy.
Yeah. That's true. Wasn't intending on that, but yes, that is true.
Real carefully.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Drew. First of all, what you drinking, and second of all, welcome back for your second time. Is this 2 times in a row that you've got here for a win?
Yes, thankfully.
So what are you drinking, and tell me about the game.
I am drinking what I brought out last time. I figured it was fitting. Nice celebratory. We beat Montreal. Thank you. Okay, this game, my anxiety for this game just was through the roof. I thought it was bad for playoff hockey. This was awful for me. But this was the best start we could have possibly had. We jump out to this 2-0 lead, and we look like we've stunned them. Basically, the crowd is basically becoming a non-factor in that first half, and then Brad, with that one mistake, changed the complexion of this game. And unfortunately, they got life in it. The crowd got life from it, and then they took off from that point. They started to control it. All of their dangerous chances started coming, and everything started going their way. But we still find a way. We pull off a win in PKs, where we have not done that ever. Well, we've done it once in Charleston in the U.S. Open Cup, but this is completely different, and we somehow pulled it off.
Yeah, I don't know. I still have like no idea how we did it. It completely like defies reasoning. Like again, it's like we talked about how we shouldn't have beat Rebels. We should not have beaten Orlando. The odds were unbelievably stacked against us. We should not be here, and then yet we are, and then we win. It's improbable. It's unlikely, and like I said at the outset of the show, we're making a habit of doing the impossible, and I'm here for it.
I mean, it did, and it's also, I think, we're learning from our lessons, I think, as well. It also seemed like we picked a good order for penalty takers. It seemed like they were, confident penalty takers here versus, I think in years past, it's like, who's the best of the rest of who's willing to take one? And I think everyone that took one was, you're convicted.
They had to be perfect, and they were. Like, what a time to go perfect.
Yeah, it's just like, this season just kind of shows just how inexplicable it all is. It's like, this season of all seasons, we finally win a penalty shootout. Like,
yeah. I want to find the guy out there somewhere. I'm sure there's one who, before the season started, had like Atlanta United going far in the playoffs, and everyone's just like, really? Like, and they're all looking at him like, what do you do? Like in their office pool, they're like, I'm not sure. And then like, the season's halfway in, and everyone's like, really? You're sure about that? And, so hey, he's laughing now a bit.
If he is, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think there were pundits that had us finishing fairly high. Because, on paper, we should be a lot better. And yes, looking at everything, we still should be obviously a lot better. I think, we've massively underperformed this season, even with the losses of 3 really good players. But somehow, I think we're getting hot at the right time. And not much rest for these guys. But
do you think that's good for us, Drew, not having any rest?
I don't think it hurts us too much. I think it might put a little bit of wear and tear on us for now. But I think it's honestly better because we carry that confidence, we carry that momentum, we carry that belief. The players have this belief in themselves right now that they can go out there and do this, and that brings a lot. That gives a lot to a player's ego and psyche to be able to do the impossible. When you are doing stuff like this, you are like, oh, we can do this, and it goes a long way.
Yeah, can we dream the impossible dream?
Yeah, but it comes with that confidence of having beat Inter Miami and going undefeated against us this season. Obviously, we will have to contend with them possibly in a penalty shootout as well. But we've taken a lot of penalties this season. Like, I think way more than any other season in history. and so maybe that experience has kind of gone well too. But I mean, if you look at the road, yeah, it's like, okay, well, maybe Columbus or Cincy, or I mean, all teams that we've played pretty decently well. Actually, Cincy maybe is the hardest opponent for us so far. It seems like where I think they match up just really well against us, and yeah, I mean, if we can actually do this road, it's teams that we are familiar with. It's teams that if we did, we will just be the saltiest bastards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gonna love all of that energy.
So you're saying we can dream the impossible dream from the man of La Mancha, if anyone is a fan of musicals. Gavin Marshall says the substitution for Atlanta United Fan TV at the hour mark, exiting the stream, Glenn from the Five Strikes, and entering the stream, AJ from Atlanta United Fan TV. That's right. Kyle Abigar says, we can say after this game that it isn't the worst performing season, still the worst feeling since Joseph blew his knee. LexZone6 says, this was probably the most Mickey Mouse playoff run in Atlanta sports history, but I'll take it. It is haphazard. It is, like slapdash. It is weird. It is chaotic, but again, like you said, I'll take it. Kyle Abgar also says, I want Joseph to come back as that split-time striker next season for us. He's getting close to his old form. It kind of seems like it. I feel like it's up for debate whether or not it's a good idea to bring him back. I think there's a lot of variables there, and I think there's a lot of arguments for and against. So maybe we'll talk about it in a video coming up or something. There's a lot to be hashed out about that. And Tara Moody says, house money. Agree. Alan Salazar says, I can't believe the amount of people that doubted Lennon as a winger. I mean, a lot of people have been doubting Lennon for like a hot minute. He's been given us a lot of reasons to doubt him. But as a winger, though, yeah, it seemed to be a bit of the secret sauce. Would you say like that perhaps was maybe, if not the key, at least a significant contributing factor to our victory tonight, Drew?
Oh yeah, for sure. I like Saba on the same side with Amador. Those two combine really well. So if you have somebody on the opposite side that is looking to get onto that far post and has some speed to get into the box, like Lennon does, that's a recipe for success. And it frees up more options for other players as well. Like you had on that second goal with the corner, you have people that start to get free more often. You have the other team's defense starts to pay attention to other players, and Shan gets a basic free header. He was very unmarked there. It was very shocking to see him get that free header, especially with he's that big and he's just unmarked basically to get that header. And if Amador is healthy for next game, which it's looking promising. They just posted a picture of them in the locker room, and he's not got any wrapping or any ice or anything on any of his ankles, so it looks a little bit more promising. Hopefully he will be ready for Friday. So
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think what it struck me with one of the things you were saying. Yeah, Steen Gregerson, it's like he's a bull. He's a literal bull in the china shop. Like, just, I mean, bigger than everybody in the box for sure. And it's just like, at your own peril, don't double mark him. That's your own fault. Because, yeah, I think more often than not, he's going to win those headers in the box. It's just a matter of how close is he to goal. Really well taken header. I mean, that's just, that's how you play it, and it's beautiful. That was, it's a shame we can't keep a clean sheet lately. That's kind of the one thing. But is that a big enough worry for you against Inter Miami?
No, I don't think it is. Just because Miami's going to get their goals. Miami is uber talented. They are going to find a way to get a goal in a game. It if we held them to clean sheets for the entire series, I'd be shocked, and I'd be wondering who got hurt and how many got hurt, because they have that amount of talent that they'll get lucky and get a couple. It's about how we manage their chances, basically.
Yeah,
because we'll get our own. They are open enough. We are a bad matchup for Miami. I think Miami fears this matchup because they know what we can do on the counter. They know how dangerous we are when we are running into open space with somebody like Saba, or especially with Lennon potentially playing as a winger with his speed running at defenders. That is terrifying for them.
Oh yeah. Speaking of that, before we get moving, I don't want to let this go because it made me a little concerned that when Adrian brought up, like, yeah, we shifted Saba over to the left side and we had Brooks on the right. It worked because Lennon scored a goal, but I feel like that's not going to happen a lot if that continues. I feel like Lennon is not going to score a lot on the right wing. I mean, he'll score more on the right wing than like a right back, but like, I just feel like that's not necessarily like he's, we put him there and of course now he's going to score, right? Whereas when you have Saba Lobjanidze on the right side, he does score, not like super consistently, but he does. And you can kind of almost rely on that. Is this enough evidence, at least from putting him not on the right, that he's not going to be able to be best utilized to get a more consistent amount of like output of goals from him? Is it worth having Lennon on the right to, I mean, let's imagine, Brooks Lennon never scored tonight. Is it still the right move to have done that?
I think there was a move made for tactical reasons, and I think that reason in my mind is that you're a little bit more solid with both Lennon and Ronaldo Hernandez, and you have obviously end product as well at times. Usually more with the assist ball with Lennon, but Wolf I don't think started, and he was hooked. Not only after coming on, like that's a little embarrassing at times, I think, for a player, but. I think with good reason, with the more defensive player, that made sense. But
what did you think, AJ? What did you think of him taking Wolf off, an attacker, for Abram, a defender, when we were likely going to penalties?
Yeah, I mean, it's you need to have, I think, make sure that it stays at the scoreline, because it could have gotten out of hand and. They could have been just lumping in cross after cross. Well, then at that point, you need three center backs. I guess, yeah, it is always, which ones are going to take penalties. Obviously, you want more attackers on the pitch, but he's also a young kid. It's like, I think you kind of roll the die. You have the most experienced people taking penalties, and, the more likely ones anyway. We didn't see Lennon or Gregerson. Gregerson has, taken his penalties with aplomb, but yeah, I think it's a greater question. And with Lennon, it's so interesting because I think he can be part of a winning side, just probably not a starter. But if he is depth as right back, as right wing on the wings, I'd take him. But I don't know if he would want to, play that way if you would accept that role.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Completely agree. Let me read a couple of these comments and then we'll get to some more things. Gavin Marshall says, tweet from Mike Conti says, Atlanta United is unbeaten 4-0-2 in their last 6 road matches. Longest stretch since March 31st, June 13th, 2018. Alan Salazar says, Yep. Alan Salazar says, everyone is expecting ATL to die this season, but someone keeps reviving us. Shout out to the healer. Yeah, that's a, I guess, World of Warcraft or something reference. Sheer Wine Guy, or I guess like, any of those types of games. Sheer Wine Guy says, I'm not saying Rob is poor either. Yeah. I don't think anyone's saying Rob is poor. I think it's just like him moving on to the next stage probably makes sense. Alan Salazar says, we're rolling a crit on a D20. Yeah, that's what it feels like. It does feel like that. It feels like we just don't belong in this fight, and yet we're just getting super lucky sometimes. Aaron Sosa says, the dream road to the Cup would be Miami, then to Orlando, to New York Red Bull, a gauntlet of rivalries. Yeah, I mean, and we've beat them all. So it's a startlingly optimistic route, which we really have no business being optimistic about, but here we are. Jack,
it's really that.
Yeah.
Like I came in this match oddly zen, thinking that I predicted a 3-2. I knew there were going to be goals. I knew Jose Martinez was going to score. I wished it wasn't going to be penalties, but in a way, by winning the penalties, hey, it's I was completely not that worried tonight for some reason. It really felt like I think we could have beaten CF Montreal.
Yeah.
This road also kind of zen about it. It's like, we're playing with house money, so it's like, hell yeah, I might go all in at times and just know.
Yeah, it's like kind of like it's kind of like saying we don't belong here, but we don't care. Like how when Philly says no one likes us and we don't care. It's like, well, we don't belong here, but we also don't care. It's funny because Philly's not even in the playoffs. Let's see. Aaron Sosa says, Jack Dickens says, is it true Chris Henderson is going to be joining next season? It's possible. It sounds like it. Do we know any more fresh news about that, AJ?
There have been no other updates about it, but it's a very strong rumor that is probably pretty verified. But we just have to wait and see, when that actually happens. Which I think it'd be more obvious that it's at the end of the season, probably in a new fiscal quarter. Just to keep the books all clean and stuff. But who knows?
Yeah. Nick in the ATL says we'd all better meet up at the tailgate on November 2 and have a drink or something together. Yeah, I'm gonna try and get to that game. That's gonna be all. I had no compunctions about us having a scheduled game at that time. I did not think that was gonna be a thing, so I'm gonna have to work that into my schedule, and I will do my best to get out there. Right? Yeah. And
that
Tara,
does complicate things for a lot of people for Halloween.
And Tara Moody says Land United versus Miami. I'm seeing Hawks versus 76ers 2021 vibes. A1 Products More says, did we just win a PK shootout? Yeah, believe it or not, we did. Jack Dickens says, any shock that since Zonde has been out of the team, we've been a lot better going forward? I'll let you guys talk about that.
That's coincidental.
I wanted to talk about that. When's the last time he's played?
Well, he's been injured with that foot injury for, I think, over a month now.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say, because I saw him on the bench today, and I was like, I forgot he was still on our team. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and it's fair, but I think he will have something to say, in the playoffs here, because, I mean, be able to pull him off of the bench, that's, a good weapon to have, I think. And so, has he been a person that maybe deserves a starting spot on the team next year? No, but I think he still might have an element to play for us this season.
And every player in our organization is going to desperately try and get on the pitch for a game against Messi. So, absolutely. Sure. They're going to say, what injury to my foot? What are you talking about? I was never injured. Put me out there.
Right. At least for the photo op, right? But,
yeah. Just to be able to say, more times you played against Messi. Let's see.
Yeah.
Jack Dickens, so Kyle Apigar says, our XG this season says we were capable of competing amongst the best. As long as we convert our XG into actual goals in the postseason, I see us having a good chance of making a run for that second cup. Yeah, so I mean, we've talked about this. We've had our issues with finishing all season long. It's not as if we brought in a clinical finisher all of a sudden, but the goals are coming. What do you guys make of that?
Roger.
We're getting the bounces. That's what's happening, is those chances that we could not convert, that we would get so unlucky not putting in the back of the net, some of them are finally bouncing our way. We're getting those balls to go in, and it's happening at the right time right now. And if it continues to happen like it has been, we can do a lot with that luck. And it may take us past Miami, it may not, but if this continues, we have a really good shot.
Yeah, I think it's that. It's our deliveries have been more on point. From the left side, from Amador, from Moranchuk as well. I mean, it's just, those balls are more accurately placed. They're in better zones and areas that we can actually hurt the opposition, and that's what we're asking for. Because I think a lot of the other maybe chances earlier on in the season, we were snatching at them, just really either pulling them or blasting them over the bar, and I think there's been more composure. It's been, I think with Saba, I think kind of getting hot a little bit. I mean, obviously him before Moranchuk came in was probably our best player, and I think he's carried the team, and it's good to see other players step up, like two defenders essentially, normally anyway, score tonight. I mean,
Here's a question for both of you and the chat. I want to see how you guys handle this. So imagine we clean house a lot of players. Let's just say Lennon gets traded, Brad Guzan retires. Let's just assume that. And we got Saba still there as part of the core with Stian is there, Cohn is still there, Williams is still there, a couple others, Amador. Does Saba have a legit shot at being the captain if that plays out like that?
He might be the longest serving. I don't know if he is the hype to be a captain. I would also hesitate to say that Cohen is part of that core there. He might, play a part next season, just from a longer contract maybe, but I don't know. I don't know if he's proven enough. But yeah, I mean, I think Saba's got a decent shout, but I don't know if he is maybe quite the disciplinarian that you might need. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's
Seems like more the energy leader, that we talk about in that kind of way. Drew.
Right.
I was going to say, he'd be in the shout. The three that I could see, it'd be Williams as my top pick. He seems like that leadership type. You can see it, how he is on the field, how he communicates. Schleich would be my second pick, and then Saba would come in there.
Not Stian? Stian's got experience being captain of Bordeaux.
Stian, yes, but I feel like at times he diverts to Williams more, and he's a little bit more of the quieter leader. He leads by example a lot more from what I've seen. He, at least on the field, he's not as vocal as Williams, so I do see Saba speaking and talking it a lot on the field, but I feel like he is that more energy type guy. Yeah.
I mean, Saba's turning into a little bit of a mini Joseph to a degree with his little anger fits he does when he doesn't get the service or things don't fall his way. And that's, I mean, we always talk about how, that can potentially be a toxic trait in a player, but it's also a very lauded and attractive trait to have, in that's a player who wants to win. It's a player who wants to make things happen. And that's something that I feel like we've needed, and I love that he brings a lot of soul and energy to the team with his clear passion that he has. He clearly is a guy who fights for the badge, and I really respect that. Nick in the ATL says Zonde Silva played 37 minutes in the Nashville match on September 14. Hasn't appeared since. I don't see Saba as captain material yet. Gavin says for Saba to be captain, he would need to be here a bit longer. Nick in the ATL says Stian gets too many cards to be captain. At least he did earlier in the season. Yeah, I mean, as a center back kind of big guy, I could see that being a issue with captaining. Jordan Sureski says, it's interesting seeing on Instagram how many of the bandwagon Fort Lauderdale supporters not knowing how the MLS first round of the playoffs works. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of those guys who have no idea how MLS works. It's a metric fuck ton because there's so many of them coming from all around the world because he brings such a diverse fan base around with him. So yeah, you're just gonna see a lot of that. Kyle Appigar says making the runs into the box to put away the crosses for goals far too often went unpunished. I would tap Williams as the captain if we don't get a superstar DP. Williams helps coach the back line. Yeah, I'm starting to see, like what we're talking about with Williams as a potential captain. He does seem to have a bit of that leadership. It's interesting. It didn't strike me that way when he first got here, but it's starting to... I'm coming along to it, but I also agree with what Kyle said that if we get like a superstar, I don't necessarily immediately want to give him a DP, but give him captain, but I could see that like being if he's like a real true superstar. But yeah, I don't know about that. I'm undecided.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is a good question because it's obviously they got to be like tried and true, have that cachet, world cachet. I think for them to come in and then be the captain. Yeah, I mean, obviously, how many of those kind of players are left? Right. I mean, the likes of like a Messi or a Zlatan. Or even like Marco Royce, like that's a really good player that probably in a year or so probably will be wearing the captain's armband.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, there's Griezmann, there's who probably is going to go to LA, so there's probably not him. That level of player is kind of tough to say who that would be. And if it was anybody else, I wouldn't give it the armband yet.
Luka Modric, obviously, immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
Immediately.
Yep.
I'd let him wear two captain armbands.
Yep. One for the just the club in general, just all the unified team for the.
It's like the North Korean generals, how they have like 1,000 medals going down their shirt. That's exactly what we're gonna do for Luka Modric when he comes here. We'll give him a lot of ceremonial medals.
Yeah, we're going off the rails here, but.
All right, Drew. Final thoughts. Give us your final opinions about this, and then we'll move on to our next guest.
Thank goodness we got a win out of this. I am just excited now, and we go into Miami on Friday, and let's see what we can do. Right now we're playing with house money. Let's see what we can do. Let's make some noise. If we can embarrass Miami, the amount of just sweet taste in my mouth I will have just watching the salt on the internet will be incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. It will be like legendary, I would say. Like we were talking earlier about how it would be like a trophy in and of itself, like beating Miami in the playoffs. That's a heck of an accolade. So, yeah, I agree with you there. All right, Drew, thanks very much for hanging out with us. A little bit past midnight. Sorry to keep you up, but it's a W. You got to be here.
Exactly. Well, good night, guys.
All right, take care, bud. Thanks for hanging out. All right, so we're waiting on our next guest, and while we do that, guys, get your comments in. We're going to be finishing up here soon. Kyle Abigar says, thanks for chatting so much, Kyle. I appreciate you in the chat tonight. He said, we will need a captain in the back line to build up Cobb and Morales. He helps position Abram and Gregerson now that he has acclimated into the club. Yeah, I think he's acclimated quite well. Obviously he's a veteran of this league, and he seems to be a pretty tried and true, steady hand as a leader in the back line. And I feel like, this is kind of a theme for a lot of the last couple of years, is we didn't have, I use the term pylon players in the past, like we haven't had a lot of that. He is, like, in my mind, definitionally that. And it's just so good to see someone of that ilk on the team. So we know that we have some fine, strong spine in the back. That makes me very confident for our defense going forward in future seasons. So without further ado, Connor, how are you doing? Welcome to the chat. It's a little bit after midnight. Thanks for hanging out with us. Little atlutdfantv After Dark. Hopefully it doesn't get too much weirder, talk about North Korea and other things like that, but we'll try and steer clear from that. I don't know how versed you are in geopolitics. There might be a quiz later, so just keep that in mind.
Multiple choice.
Unfortunately, no. Open-ended, written only. So, yeah.
Not a shot.
Yeah.
No lifelines. Yep. And unfortunately, there are no monetary awards for this either. But all pain, but all gain here too as well.
That's right.
So let us have your thoughts.
There we go. Okay. Well, starting off, 2 games in a row, we go up 2-0. I unfortunately did not. I came in right as we scored that first goal, so I didn't get to see the build up until I saw a clip earlier.
The 45 passes.
That was I can't believe I missed that, but I was finishing a test, and it literally took me forever, but hopefully I made 100 on that. It'll be worth it if that's the case. Otherwise, it's not at all. But yeah, overall, fantastic. I went back and watched it. It was a great goal, great team build up. What a ball, and what a finish as well. And then I thought Pedro, whenever I mentally, I don't know how on the second goal, I didn't realize that. I thought Pedro had that ball going as well. I thought he got 2 assists on the day until I was looking earlier.
Right. Completely
out of my mind. But I was like, whenever I saw him go down, I was like, oh Lord, this is where it all comes tumbling down, and it was so close to being. But
yeah, no, I want to just grab that for a second, because I agree with you that I almost thought like the second goal came from an assist from from Pedro too, because Moranchuk, just outside of his assist, to me seemed a little invisible tonight. But he did some pulling the strings, and his touches were nice for the most part. There were 2 glaring, where he had the ball stolen from him, which I'm like, what are you doing there? These are players who you should not be letting them steal from you in that kind of situation in that part of the park, but it happened. So I just felt like maybe perhaps he could have been doing a little bit better tonight, but how can I complain too much when we won? What are your thoughts on Moranchuk?
Overall, I think it's a little bit. I've seen it also in other games where he tries to find that, not that just first pass. He's trying to be more visionary. He's trying to find that next pass, and sometimes the pressure just comes onto him quickly. I think that's a little bit of it. And also, I think some people just aren't with him on the runs, that they're like, he's looking for a certain type of run, or he's looking for someone to do something, and they're just not making what he's seeing. Because I think we saw that a lot last game in Orlando with TRA, whenever we were breaking in the second half. We saw that a lot, where they just weren't on the same page, and he was trying to find this ball, and Tiara was just not making that kind of run. And I think we see that a lot right now. They're just not on the same page, so I'm hoping a little bit more time together, understanding what he wants, and also just him understanding what the other people are going to do. I think that should be a little bit better. Also, I think playing the 3 at the back's a little bit different. There wasn't as much space as there are other teams, So I think that didn't help him as well. And then also just not as many like we after the 2 goals, we just weren't trying as much. We weren't trying to be as expansive, which I mean it's understandable. I mean we have a 2-0 lead, and it's just kind of it's kind of a 3 against or like a what would have been like a 2 against 4 or like a 3 against 4, and it's just if you're not making a fantastic run, I mean it just, or if you don't hit the ball at the right time, it's just not going to make it to the guy. So I mean did he ghost a little bit? Yeah, sure, but I mean I kind of understand how it happened, and if he's allowing other people to do other things off the back of it, I'm okay.
Yeah, 100%. Did you notice that, like, I don't think he took one of his classic Moranchuk shots tonight, you know, like one of his just takes and just goes for it. Did you? I don't think I saw one. I don't think he did one. I was hoping for one, but he didn't try.
Yeah, I don't remember one. Maybe early on in the first half, that maybe. I don't remember one towards the second half. Yeah, I think we were trying to be a little bit more safe.
Right. We really rarely took a shot from distance in this match. You know, I think there were like a couple, but it seemed like he was less aggressive. You know, in and around goal in terms of maybe wanting to absolutely make some sort of end product happen. I think it was a little bit more passive and kind of like I've kind of mentioned before, kind of that languid kind of demeanor that kind of echoes the likes of like a Mesut Ozil. It's just sometimes he'll drift in and out of matches, and I think when you see him more aggressive is when you're like, oh he could really change games for us. I think that's really where if he maybe took a little bit more onus and impetus, we maybe could have scored more than the 2. But I think that's the issue is, as we always say, and it's the old adage that 2-0 is the really most dangerous scoreline in football. So what happens? You have that false sense of security, because when it's 1 goal, you're like, okay, we're going to protect this with our lives. You have that extra goal, you have that little ease of like, oh, okay, maybe I can let this ball go. But I think that's really where we need to shore up is mentality. So I think that's really where it is staying switched on for a full 90 minutes. Not been the easiest. But
what did you guys make of Guzan's bobble?
I mean, that's what killed him. Is Joseph Martinez lurking? It's what will happen. He is the best at anticipating it. Truly is. Like, I mean, I would argue in many other leagues, because, man, I think that ability in front of goal plays in still a lot of leagues. It's just that, he peaked here, but I think he obviously has played in other leagues, and he arguably could have been more successful if he had been given the chance up top like he has in terms of Jose Martinez. But anyway, what do you think, Connor?
I honestly, I understand the being critical on it because it's a bad error, but also I understand whenever I looked at it again, I kind of understand how it's obviously a ball that he's like, I'm going to catch this every day of the week. But I kind of understand, that it's coming through, and I think he thinks Gregerson's going to get a touch on it, which I'll give him that. But again, he's a professional goalkeeper. He is going to set himself a standard where he's going to catch that. But I think overall, I'm like critical on it, and I think he rebounded well. So I'm not gonna be too harsh on him on that, because I think he's played well in the recent games as well. I think he's been a strong part of this team again, and I think again he rebounded well in this game individually. And honestly, if I'm more critical on anyone, I think I'm more critical on Brooks giving away a penalty. I think I'm more critical on that one because it's just a silly foul. It's not even it's Goose. I kind of understand the it's making a mistake. The Brooks, it's like it's lackadaisical. It's not giving effort. I'm really critical on that because I feel like it's one of the many times this season where he's committed a silly foul or done something silly that's cost the team. And I feel like there's not a change, whereas in Goose's game, we see a change usually. We see him come back and persevere. And Brooks, I just haven't seen that. But Goose, I'm okay with it. It's whatever.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I mean, it's because Lennon, it is either one of these positions. You make a mistake, usually it probably is going to be a goal. And, with the goalkeeper, it is, almost more certainty. The tough part, I think, is, it's like Lennon came from he scored the first goal for us, to giving away the penalty. It's like, hopefully, mindset-wise, he can still recover and, not beat himself up. And hopefully, with this win, it, definitely absolves him a little bit. But I think going from that to that versus giving up a goal and then Goose saving a goal is definitely, you kind of, I think, have that redemption arc worked out in the right order.
Right. Yeah, the order. Yeah.
It's also Goose. I think one thing that for me with him is with him I see it's Brooks, I continue to see these kind of errors build up. Goose, I think you give him another 50 of those, and I think that's the only error in the 50. So I think that's one thing for me as well. It's unfortunate the timing, but I think if that happens in another, it becomes very unfortunate that it's just the timing of it. And honestly, I think we'll go into the next 2 games that we'll see, and I think we'll be fine, and I don't think we'll see any issues like that. Whereas Brooks, going into the next game, I don't know what's going to happen with him. So that's another thing with me.
It's a great point. I mean, it is that. It's Lennon has not really, from a defensive standpoint, ever been, what we call him Mr. Reliable, right? Some people kind of like to call him. So it's like, okay, we know that reliably, unfortunately, he's it's not 50-50, but it's I would say 70-30, maybe more so. Okay, I'm a bit worried about him, I think stopping a cross and staying switched on at the back post, tracking back in time after he's gone on a lung-busting run. There are a lot of things that I think we've seen with him throughout the years that's while his overall game is so solid, it's just a matter of those lapses can really cost us sometimes, and we've seen it. But
it's really one of those where it's if you have a person putting in these chances that he's creating, it really outweighs. But whenever the chances aren't being taken that he's providing, it really there's nothing to counteract the disadvantages right now. So I think that's a big thing. And going forward, I've kind of remained on this point where I'm if we want to continue to play that kind of football and we continue to have him create those kind of chances, I'm okay with it. But if that's not the kind of football that you want to play, he's not the right guy for you to be playing. And I'm kind of wondering also if we're maybe looking at a guy more like a Pedro, where he's more of a full back. I mean, he's technically a wing back, but he's plays more of a defensive side, and he's more of a deep crosser, which is one thing. He's not a byline crosser. He can put a ball in from deep, which I think helps us defensively. He doesn't have to track back that extra 25-30 yards. I think that would be a more option that I would look at, but also that those are hard to come by. You don't see those that many.
We got lucky with Pedro for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely it's massive shouts out to the scouting, the front office for finding I think a gem for this league to replace Caleb Wiley outgoing. That I mean, he's made us forget about Wiley, like really has been, but it's crazy. But yeah, let's wrap it up. Yeah. Final thoughts.
I mean, finally won a penalty shootout. Lord, that had me. I thought Goose saved the second one in there. We were out to dinner, and I thought he saved one. It was I forget who took
He
it.
jumped the right way.
Yeah, and he got like a hand on it, and I made a nice loud expression in a restaurant, but it's fine. But it's all the love and joy of being an Atlanta United fan. But
hey, no shame. You can you could just make a joke about it in the restaurant. Just like you're really excited for this food.
And if it was like any other like year, or like not any other, if it was just like 2018, I feel like my cat is yelling at me for some reason.
Yeah.
But if this was like 2018, I feel like a lot of people in that restaurant would have also got up at the same time, so wouldn't have been alone.
True.
They knew where you were sports bar, so yeah. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are y'all going to the next Saturday? Y'all going to the game?
I'm gonna try to. I don't know yet.
Yeah. I gotta figure out some way to get there, but I'm hopefully gonna be in attendance.
I mean, AJ will be going because he has to.
Yeah. I got a flight the next morning at like 5 a.m. So it'll be.
Woo!
All right, so only 6 shots.
0 shots, but yeah.
Yeah.
0 shots and no sleep most likely, but we'll be getting dinner done.
Hopefully, yeah, exactly. Hopefully, it's all adrenaline, and you're just kept awake because of a W. So
hopefully it's like two games won. We won Friday, we won Saturday, and I'm just a happy man.
Well, let's manifest it.
I mean, yeah, from your lips to God's ears, my guy. I mean, damn.
Exactly.
All right, Connor. It was good speaking with you.
Yes. See you guys.
Have a good night, buddy. We'll talk to you later.
You as well. See ya.
All right, so let me just get through a couple of these because we gotta bounce. Last comment is just from Uzumaki saying, essay format, talking to Connor earlier about how he has to submit his homework. So, AJ, final thoughts before we head out of here.
Yeah, I think echoing a lot of sentiments that, we're playing with house money. We are, if we do anything, this is just all gravy, and it's fantastic. It's the most freeing feeling because there's no pressure, and so I love it. The teams ahead of us, we have played them tough. They will fear us. And when's the last time we were able to say that about Atlanta United?
Yeah, we've never been an underdog like this before. It's wild.
No. I think there will be other teams, fans that are rooting for us in probably nearly every matchup.
Oh, no, so, yeah, no. I mean, specifically with Miami, I have people coming into our Discord saying, like, you are the savior of MLS. You have to slay Miami. Like,
and it would be incredible. So, let's just, I think we're gaining fans by the day with the, just at least, good juju. I think there's going to be a lot of other fans that are just really putting that good energy on us. And we'll take all of it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, like I said earlier, it's the Goku spirit bomb. Everyone's giving him energy, so 100%.
Okay, that's what that is. I was like, I had no idea what you were talking about, but yeah. I get it now.
Yeah. David G says, what a win. Oh, I got here at the end. Bummer. Love you guys. Yeah, man. We start maybe like 30 minutes to an hour, maybe at most, after the game. So, that's typically when we go live after a game. So, yeah, try and give that a shot next time. But, yeah, I'm glad you were able to stop by and see like a little bit live. Go back and watch some of the stuff we said. Yeah. There's plenty of good stuff talked about tonight. A lot of stuff. I mean, this was a big game, big win, and man, an improbable one at that. So yeah, it was a good time hanging out with you guys. We are still 28 here at 1224. Appreciate all you. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's been me, Mike. Man, it's been a hell of a season, and it's still going somehow. I haven't even... I still can't believe we're here. And that's AJ on the other side. AJ, sign us out. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys.
Yeah. I mean, you already said all the things about the YouTubes. So, don't be a freeloader. Smash that like button. But thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.